Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the Chosen One trope. So, as usual, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and let's begin. So, this time on Trope Talk, we're going to talk about the Chosen One trope. So, the Chosen One trope, everyone knows it. It's one of the most basic tropes in all of fantasy. It is basically a situation where one of the characters, normally the main character, has been chosen by some unknown and unknowable force that more or less controls the universe, or sometimes control the universe. But they have been chosen as the one and only person that can essentially resolve the plot. Most often, this trope is combined with the hero's journey trope as well, because they pretty much work hand in hand. So because this trope is so common and so pervasive, it is also one of the tropes that have the most variation. And especially because it's oftentimes combined with the hero's journey trope, that leads to a lot of experimentation and a lot of change-ups to the way the trope is typically presented. Some easy examples for the Chosen One trope is from like the young adult series, The House of Night. Zoe Redbird is the main character. She's a young vampire character in the story, and she's clearly chosen, or she seems to be clearly a chosen one, but there is no explicit reference to her being the chosen one. Everything kind of just goes in the direction of her becoming the most important, like, priestess of the situation she's in. It's a long, complicated story, so I'll just keep it very vague. So the House of Night doesn't really make use of the hero's journey trope, but the Chosen One trope is definitely in play here. And it is also one of the ones that is very much an indirect Chosen One trope, because no one ever says that she's chosen. It's never explicitly set up that she's chosen. Only the events of the story kind of lead in that direction. So it's kind of a more organic way of doing. So it's like a chosen one without having to actually be told that they are chosen, or any of the characters really being told that that person is the chosen one. But one of my favorite examples that really makes good use of the hero's journey trope is the Heroes of Olympus series. While Percy Jackson kind of does the same thing, the Heroes of Olympus kind of does it in an ensemble version. So the Heroes of Olympus is a sequel series to the Percy Jackson series, and in that story we have a main group of 7, and everyone in that group are very special in their own particular ways. While the use of the Chosen One trope in this applies to an ensemble, it also comes with an actual prophecy that basically says that they're all the chosen ones. The nature of what is called the Great Prophecy, like this time around, because it's the second series, so there's a second Great Prophecy, there's basically a mention of these 7 particular characters. Or not really the characters themselves, but 7 people in particular, and these 7 characters are actually chosen by fate and by destiny. So Percy being one of the only sons of Poseidon that exists, so he's rare and he's special, especially because of what he did in the Percy Jackson series. And then we have Piper, one of the only children of Aphrodite to ever have the ability to charm speak, so that's a very rare ability for one of those demigods, so she's special. And then we have Leo, a pyrokinetic. He is a son of Hephaestus, and it is very rare that any Hephaestus's children have any like supernatural abilities beyond just being engineers, so that's a unique person, so he's, a particularly chosen person. We also have Frank, who is a child of multiple gods in different situations, which give him very unique abilities and a very particular destiny. So he's very much a chosen one, probably more explicitly than most of the other characters in the party. Then we also have Hazel, who is a child of Pluto, who was dead and who has come back to life, and her destiny is such that she has been breaking laws of reality for a while in order to basically fit what destiny has set out for her. So she's clearly chosen and all that kind of stuff, so it becomes very obvious. And same thing with Jason, similar with Percy. Jason is the son of, technically son of Jupiter, but he's, son of Zeus, which is very, very rare. And Jason, being the son of Jupiter, is also very unique. Zeus has multiple kids, but Jupiter doesn't. So different aspects, whole different thing. It's a whole thing. And Annabeth, last but not least, being the daughter of Athena, and like she's one of the daughters of Athena that has high level intelligence. So she's basically a teenage super genius, which is, kind of rare. So, and she's also from the original series, so that's a little meta chosen nature there. So like clearly Percy and Annabeth are very much sequel series chosen, so it's a little, it's in there. And one of the other quintessential examples of a chosen one trope wrapped inside the hero's journey is, of course, the Lord of the Rings. Frodo wasn't explicitly chosen by like the universe or anything like that, but it is basically theorized that his uncle Bilbo was meant to have the ring, and the ring was meant to get to Frodo. So it's kind of all implied. It's all very implicit, like a lot of the magic in the Lord of the Rings. So it's fairly easy to say, yes, he was clearly meant to have the ring, especially because of all his unique attributes that made him pretty much perfect to actually go on this journey. Well, him and Sam, because they couldn't have done it, without each other, more or less. And the entire nature of the story is purely the hero's journey. It almost follows it like to the letter. So it's very much one of those situations. So the combination of these two actually works really, really well together. So, and I guess last but not least is my current favorite example, and that's Randall Thor. Randall Thor is definitely a chosen one character, but he is one of the versions of a reluctant chosen one. He didn't really want to have to deal with this, mostly because of everything that being the Dragon Reborn implies. He didn't want to have to deal with it and all this stuff, and he was very content with his normal life. So he very much didn't want to, have this responsibility. So I guess that makes him like the reluctant chosen one. So it's the same trope, but there's just a little difference to it. But the hero's journey nature of it is similar to Lord of the Rings in that it is almost following that trope to the letter. It is, everything in it is pretty much exactly checks all the boxes of the hero's journey trope. So the only real difference in the Wheel of Time is the fact that Rand is a very reluctant chosen one. So the chosen one trope is a very common trope, as I already said, and it is often paired with the hero's journey trope. And these two work so well together because one more or less informs the other. And it works as a really good writing structure for when you're creating something like a fantasy story or anything that can kind of mimic the hero's journey. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this video to an end, and I want to ask you all, so what are some of your favorite examples of a subversion of the chosen one trope? How have you seen it reworked and changed up in interesting ways? Give me a couple of examples in the comments. I'd love to read them. So make sure you leave a comment and like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I will talk to y'all next time. Peace.